Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we break down sources, pull out the key insights, and deliver the mental shortcuts right to you. Today, we are getting into a dilemma that I think affects pretty much everyone trying to learn something new. It's that paralyzing gap between knowing what you're supposed to do and actually doing it.
Oh, it's the ultimate hurdle, isn't it? That moment where you've done all the prep, you've read the book, but the fear of getting it wrong just stops you cold. And it doesn't matter if it's learning a language or a new piece of software or even, a new recipe. That fear of making a mistake in front of people can be just so powerful.
Absolutely. And the sources we looked at for today, it's this instructional dialogue about learning everyday English. But it's really an operating manual for overcoming that exact feeling, that anxiety. It's basically a guide on how to get past the shyness, the worry, and that really crippling desire to be perfect before you even start.
Exactly. The material is built on a really practical philosophy that goes way beyond just language. It's simple. Practice is the key.
Yeah.
But then there's a crucial part two.
Yep.
Making mistakes is normal. Our whole mission today is to pull out not just the techniques, but the mindset, the philosophy that gives you permission to mess up and then shows you how to use those mess ups to get better.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We have to start with the main problem, right? The psychological wall that stops people. The source material really nails this with a character they call Leo. Leo is basically the stand-in for every learner who has all the knowledge in their head but just can't get the words out.
Leo's story is so universal. He feels, super shy, really nervous when it's time to speak, and his mind just races, focusing on all the tiny details.
Right, the grammar, the pronunciation.
Exactly. Or just the fear of saying the wrong thing, that you'll be misunderstood, or even worse, that you'll be judged for it.
And it's not just the shyness, it's the thought process that comes after. Leo describes it perfectly. He says, I think too much before I speak, and then I stop. It's that overanalysis. You're editing yourself into silence. It just kills any kind of forward momentum.
And what's so fascinating, what the dialogue we reviewed points out, is that the problem isn't the lack of knowledge. Leo probably knows all the rules. The real issue is inaction.
Yeah.
It's all driven by that fear of making a mistake. And the solution they offer is, well, it's brilliant in its simplicity. They just tell the learner, everyone starts like this.
That's powerful.
It is. That one sentence reframes the whole thing. Your anxiety isn't a personal failure. It's just a normal, necessary part of the journey.
Okay, so if overthinking and fear are the barriers, the goal has to be the opposite. It's about taking action. And that action is fueled by this idea of what the source calls confidence. But the real insight for me was in how they define it.
Yes, exactly. We tend to think of confidence as this thing you have to have before you can perform. You wait until you feel confident. But this material, it just flips that completely. It basically says confidence, feeling sure about your skills isn't something you wait for. It's the result of taking action.
So you don't wait for confidence to act.
You act imperfectly, and that's what builds the confidence. You get it by doing, not by waiting until you know everything.
That one idea sets up the entire philosophy of this deep dive, really. It's this direct challenge to the notion that you need to be perfect before you can even try.
Right. The experts in the dialogue say it so clearly, you don't need to be perfect to speak English well. They argue that all improvement, all of it, happens step by step. And if you connect that to the bigger picture of learning anything, the source is fundamentally redefining what success even looks like.
Yeah, it shifts the goalposts.
Yeah.
It's not about flawless execution anymore. It's about, effective function. It's about what really has value, which the material explains using the word matter.
And here's the key message, the big takeaway. Clear communication matters more than perfect grammar.
That's the ultimate permission slip for any learner, right?
It is. Because if the main function of the skill, in this case, just being understood, is achieved, then you've succeeded. The value is in the connection, not in the perfect delivery.
So this raises a really important question for you listening. In whatever skill you're trying to learn, what's the real measure of success? I mean, if you have a perfect technique, but you're too afraid to use it, it has zero practical value. The source is telling us to focus on function first.
And once you accept that effectiveness is the real goal, the path forward becomes about making small, constant moves.
Yeah.
And they group this under the idea of progress.
Right. Progress. Just getting a little bit better, bit by bit. The example they use is so direct. I see progress in my English because I practice every day.
Yeah.
It creates this very clear, non-negotiable link. Daily action creates progress. There's no other way.
And the emphasis is on the consistency, not the size of the movement. The material says small mistakes, even grammar mistakes,
Mhm.
they aren't a problem. Why? Because people understand you and that is important.
Mhm.
This is all about freeing the learner from that constant internal fact checker that Leo had. The goal is to get into a state of flow, not perfection.
So, the big philosophical idea here is that success is defined by clear communication right now. And confidence is what you build by choosing that continuous, low stakes progress over some impossible future moment of perfection.
Okay, so now that we have the philosophical green light to make mistakes, the conversation has to shift. We have to go from the internal barriers to the external actions. What do we actually do?
Exactly. Let's get tactical. And the experts and the sources move right into that. They give specific, practical techniques that build both skill and confidence. And the main piece of advice is just beautifully simple.
Speak a little every day.
Speak a little every day. But they don't just leave you hanging there.
No, they offer three, I'd say, high-impact techniques for
Yeah.
that daily practice. And they're all designed to get around that thinking too much problem that Leo had.
And those techniques are, number one, repeat sentences. Number two, read aloud. And number three, do shadowing practice.
And these aren't just random warm-ups. They're like surgical tools for fixing the root problem, which is that disconnect between what your brain knows and what your mouth can actually do.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The source puts a huge spotlight on shadowing as like the most powerful technique of the three. It's specifically mentioned as helping Leo to speak faster. And they describe it as training the mouth and brain to work together to speak more easily, clearly, naturally, and most importantly, with more confidence.
And just think for a second about why shadowing is so effective against that perfection trap.
What's the mechanism there?
Well, shadowing is just listening and immediately repeating. You're trying to mirror the pace, the rhythm, the intonation of a native speaker in real time. You're not composing your own sentences.
Ah, so you're not editing, you're just reacting and reproducing.
Exactly. It completely bypasses the internal editor. Leo's problem was he thought too much before speaking. Shadowing forces you into a flow state where you literally have no time to check your grammar. You just have to keep up.
You're swapping out that slow, careful composition for pure muscle memory training.
That's it. And the source is very clear. You have to speak out loud. That's non-negotiable. And you have to do it often. Every single time you practice, you're training yourself to bypass that inner critic, and you get a tiny bit better. You're confirming that core belief for yourself. Practice is progress. It turns effort into this tangible thing that you can actually feel building up.
Now, what I think really elevates this source material, beyond just being a language lesson, is that the experts then make this explicit pivot. They show how this whole don't wait to be perfect idea is, well, it's universal. They say it's useful in many areas of life.
And this is the real deep dive, right? Applying this mindset across the board. The anxiety Leo feels about saying the wrong word in English. It's the exact same anxiety we feel when we start a new job or a new hobby. It's the fear of being seen as incompetent.
To make this really concrete for you, the listener, the source gives three just incredibly relatable analogies. Let's break those down. The first one is all about your professional life.
It's the new job analogy. When you start a new role, nobody expects you to know everything on day one. I mean, can you imagine waiting until you were a total expert to even accept the job offer?
You never start.
You'd never start. You learn by doing.
Yeah.
And by necessity, you make small mistakes along the way. The company, your boss, they accept those mistakes as just the cost of training. The source tells us we need to give ourselves that same grace with any new skill.
And the second analogy, it hits on something almost everyone has felt. Physical fitness.
Ah, the fitness analogy.
Ah.
This one is brilliant because it completely reverses how we usually think about it. It says, if you wait until you are strong before you start going to the gym, you will never go.
Right.
You don't take action because you are strong. You become stronger because you take the action. The action itself is what creates the change you want.
And that's the same principle as confidence. You don't feel confident, and then you speak. You speak, and the act of speaking is what generates the confidence. It's a really powerful perspective shift.
And the third analogy just bundles up all those everyday new skills, things like cooking or learning to drive or using some complicated new software. The process is always the same.
It feels awkward at first.
Always. It feels hard, uncomfortable, you're clumsy. But that discomfort, that's not a sign you're failing. It's just the price of admission. It's the entry fee you pay to get to a new level of skill. Every single try helps you improve.
So what does this all mean for you? It doesn't matter if you're trying to learn a language or launch a side hustle or just figure out how to bake sourdough bread. The core takeaway here is so clear. Mistakes are not failures. They are evidence. They're proof that you are in the game.
The most profound summary from all of this, for me, is that progress comes from action, not perfection. The only true mistake is inaction. It's waiting on the sidelines for a feeling of readiness that only comes after you've already stepped onto the field.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive. We've talked about overcoming that anxiety of just starting, which I think everyone feels. We've covered prioritizing communication over perfect grammar, the power of daily low-stakes practice like shadowing to just bypass your own internal editor, and the massive importance of taking action over chasing this impossible idea of perfection.
The instructional dialogue frames it all so beautifully. It calls learning a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And on a journey, every small step, no matter how awkward or imperfect it feels, it's still moving you closer to where you want to go. It reframes effort. It's not this daunting task anymore. It's this accumulated value that you get to bank every single day.
And as always, we want to leave you with one final thought to connect this all back to your own life and your own challenges.
So this raises an important question for you to really consider. In what specific area of your life right now are you paralyzed by that desire to be perfect? Maybe it's a project at work, a personal goal, a new hobby. Just identify that one area, and then identify the single, small, imperfect step you could take today to start, just to get the ball rolling. Don't wait for the strength to lift the weight. Start the lift, and the strength will follow.